All right, welcome back to Joe's Corner, featuring the Shirtless Chef. So anyway, we're back here today, and we're gonna make some rice. This is long grain rice. It's called Basmati rice. It's essentially it's good for a lot of different things, but right now we're gonna use it as a bed for a tomato-based stew, which is just gonna be wonderful. But essentially, I thought I'd make the rice video. In this rice video, I can link it to whatever meals that essentially could go with it, right? So let's just make a good cup of rice. We're gonna make 2 cups of rice. I think I need a half a cup in order to get my little rice jar here. What people don't tell you all the time is you should wash your rice. So I'm gonna pour the rice into this dealio thing here. I don't know what you would call it. I'm so fancy. So I'm gonna to my rice here. Oh, rubber's breaking on the mason jar. There you go, that's life. Still works. Let's see, this half a cup. So I'm gonna put 4 of those. Roughly. The perfect ratio for rice to water is always 1 to 1.5. 1 being the rice. The rice is always the smaller number. Remember that. The water is always the higher number. So I'm gonna rinse this rice off. I'm just gonna wash it off in the sink right here next to the thing. Joe's kitchen, nice and small, we're cozy. It doesn't have to be crazy, but you know, this thing really helps as far as like washing the rice, that the water just goes through it. You could just use a pot and you could drain it, you know, just fill the pot with water, drain it a couple of times, but then the rice grains start to go everywhere. So this little strainer thing's perfect. I think it's a sifter, to be honest, for sifting flour. But it's perfect for washing rice. Absolutely perfect. Again, something I never knew I needed my whole life. You can get one cheap. They're pretty cheap. Great for making rice. I don't know, however long that was, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, something like that. Here's our rice came back. We're just gonna go ahead and dump that in the pot. Now it's all been washed off. Hardly any grains to stick. This thing's wonderful. Cheap, effective, wonderful. I can't tell you how many times I'm like trying to like keep the rice from falling out of the pot. No. And in fact, when I do that, I usually use my knife to try to get it like, but then it pours so slow. No way. This thing, awesome. Couple bucks. Okay, so we had 2 cups of rice, right? So now we need to do 3 cups of water. So that's 1 to 1.5. How I learned math is probably not the way everybody learns math anymore, to be honest. Anyway, that's 2 cups of rice, 1 cup of water. I say it out loud sometimes, honestly, so I don't lose count, because, you know, throwing all that water in there and then trying to get it back out, nah, forget it. Okay, 2nd cup of water. And this will be our final cup of water. 2 cups, 3 cups. Rice absorbs a lot of water. It's gonna be good. I also find that making at least 1 cup of rice is great. It's a little bit too much to eat all at once, and I wouldn't keep it in the fridge more than 2 days either, because rice can grow mold or bacteria that you don't see. So you know, if you're single or something, 1/4 of a cup of rice is just hard to cook. Maybe do half a cup if you have to, just one of these. So you do half a cup and 3/4 of a cup of water. And I took a little olive oil dealio thing here. And I just kind of like sprinkle a little bit in. I don't even know if that's a full tablespoon, to be honest, but you can see it just kind of bubbles over the top. And you got like enough to swirl it around. I'm making this as a bed of rice, as a white rice, which is good for the stew. But honestly, you could just take a little bit of turmeric and just sprinkle this, just half a tablespoon or a teaspoon of turmeric for this 2 cups of rice, and you'll have yellow rice, and it'll impress all your friends. Put a little cilantro in it. Oh my gosh. Easy fix. So I kind of just salt the rice too. I salt everything very generously, but I'm just kind of making a fine covering over here. And now we've got the salt, the oil, the water. We got the perfect balance of everything. We just need to boil it. So anyway, here we are at the rice station. Basically, I turn the burner on high. I'm gonna put the lid on. You don't want this to boil as hot and as high as possibly can, okay? So you just want it to boil real good. Once it does come to a boil, I'll probably leave it on there for 30 seconds. Forgive some of the chemicals that are coming off my burner because I clean my stove a lot. So I'm gonna it's gonna come, ignore the timer. That's for the bread that's in the oven. That's gonna be really good. So hopefully this comes to a boil before 3 minutes, right? And then I got to do some crazy stuff. But all this food's gonna come together so well. I got the rice, the bread, the stew. It's gonna be amazing. There'll be separate videos for the stew and the bread, so it kind of compartmentalizes things for me, so I don't have to make the rice and the bread all in the same video every time. It'll save you time at the end too. But this rice is delicious. People genuinely love this rice. They'll be like, oh my god, this rice is so good, what did you do? And I'm like, it's pretty simple. It's 2 cups of rice, 3 cups of water, some salt, some olive oil. People are like, there's no way, right? You know, like it's pretty simple. This will impress your friends. You make this rice with some lamb chops or something. It's gonna be delicious. We're gonna use it for a bed of rice in the stew, which is gonna be delicious. But essentially, you can turn the same rice into fried rice, crack an egg, and some peas and carrots, and some chicken soy sauce. That would be a good video to make too. So we're just waiting for it to come to a boil here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off this burner and I'm going to put it on the small burner behind the stew there. And it's going to take maybe, I don't know, 18 to 25 minutes to cook, depending. You know, rice is, the cook time is important. I would say shoot for about 20 minutes. It's probably all right. If you leave it past 20 minutes, you might get some rice sticking to the bottom. It may not burn, but you know, it'll just stick to the bottom. You'll have to soak it to get it out of the pot. But 20 minutes is roughly pretty good for 2 cups of rice. It allows it to never eat undercooked rice. No, make sure it's not crunchy. You never want any crunch in your rice. It needs to be soft. It needs to be good. Because if it's cooked, it's good for you. And if it's not cooked, it can cause all kinds of health problems. Forget that. So you definitely want to make sure it's cooked. So if you feel like it's not cooked, cook it 25 minutes, right? Like just give it another few minutes. And essentially, once all the water boils out, you'll know it should be cooked because you've got the ratio, the magic ratio. 2 cups of rice to 3 cups of water. Half a cup of rice, 3/4 cups of water. 1 cup of rice, 1.5 cups of water. As long as you keep it at that ratio, you should always be making good, healthy rice. I got 60 seconds over here on this other video. We're getting close here. I'm gonna have to take a look at that bread in a minute. So, just doing it all possible. Oh, and the rice is starting to boil. This is perfect. So the rice is gonna boil real good. I might give it like 30 seconds or so, right? That timer's working out great because by the time that timer's done, this rice is probably gonna be boiling to the point where I need it. And then I'll switch burners. And then I'll cut back to the rice. You know, closer to when it's done. And now it's boiling. Okay, we're good. That's it. I mean, like, I might play with it a little bit. Once it starts to bubble over like that, you don't want to mess. So just go ahead and take that off of that burner. Put it on to simmer onto the other burner. Just simmer. There we go. Make sure we have that angle. Gonna have to check that bread. I'll make sure I turn that burner off. And okay, so we'll cut and we'll come back in about 20 minutes and you will see that pot of rice steaming and looking so good. Okay, so here we are with our final product, rice. I know it's 8:39. I probably left it on there for 25 minutes or so. But here it is. Oh, look at that rice. It's beautiful. It's fluffy. It's going to be delicious. This is served for the perfect bread for our stew over there. It's going to be awesome. So let's plate this bad boy and see what it looks like. All right, so we're ready to plate the rice. It's gonna be so good. Ooh, look at that fresh rice. Just cut into it. Push it down. Oh, this is such perfect fluffy rice. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous rice. Well, everybody, thanks for hanging out in Joe's Corner, learning how to make some rice today. It's wonderful. I love sharing this stuff with you. Shirtless Chefs, signing out.